Dr. King, you say that the Negroes have a moral right to occupy the restaurant seats. Now, you've had a Supreme Court edict on the school integration. Would you say that your children, the Negro children, have a right to occupy the seats in classrooms too? And would you consider that form of nonviolence?
Well, I'm sure that Negroes have this right on the basis of the Supreme Court to go into schools. I haven't I haven't thought through the strategy at this point, how nonviolent resistance can apply in the school integration struggle. I do think it can apply, and I think we need to think through some of these methods. The main thing is that the methods must always be nonviolent, and they must always be based on the principle of love. But the specific application I'm not prepared to say at this time. I do know that we have that right on the basis of the decision from the Supreme Court.
Wouldn't you be on better ground, both legal and moral, if you occupied school seats than by occupying a few restaurant seats?
I'm not sure about that, Mr. Spivak, because I think we have an economic factor involved here, and even if one denied the legal aspect, the legal right to do it, that is a deeper moral right. As Governor Collins of Florida said, it is a blatant injustice to welcome individuals into a store at all other counters but the eating counter. This is a blatant injustice, and it is very unfair, so that we have not only legal rights involved here, but also moral rights.
But wouldn't you be on stronger grounds, though, if you refused to buy at those stores, and if you called upon the white people of the country to follow you because of both your moral and your legal right not to buy?
I think, Mr. Spivak, sometimes it is necessary to dramatize an issue because many people are not aware of what's happening. And I think the sit-ins serve to dramatize the indignities and the injustices which Negro people are facing all over the nation. And I think another reason why they are necessary and they are vitally important at this point is the fact that they give an eternal refutation to the idea that the Negro is satisfied with segregation. If you didn't have the sit-ins, you wouldn't have this dramatic, and not only this dramatic, but this mass demonstration of the dissatisfaction of the Negro with the whole system of segregation.
I understand about the stand your ground laws, but there are some things we can do. We as a Congressional Black Caucus, have put in place, at least dropped over the last couple of weeks, racial profiling laws, because that's what this was. I don't care what they say it was. That is what it was. And so if we start to do some things from the congressional perspective, maybe they can help. But let me just say this. I don't care how many laws you put in place. You cannot legislate against prejudice or bias.
Going back to the president's notable 2008 speech as a candidate, he talked about the country being stuck on race. This is what else he said back in 2008.
And contrary to the claims of some of my critics, black and white, I have never been so naive as to believe that we can get beyond our racial divisions in a single election cycle or with a single candidate, particularly a candidacy as imperfect as my own.
I want to wind this up, Professor Ogletree, by asking you, was that self-imposed sense of limitation appropriate, and did he go beyond it on Friday?
It was appropriate. I think he's going beyond it. Trayvon Martin will be with us in eternity. That's what he's done. The president has moved Trayvon Martin up to be a symbol of racial profiling in America, and I think whether he's here or not, we're going to be debating that and discussing that, and I think we're going to have the real conversation about race going forward.
As long as he stands his ground and leads us into a moral conversation.
But is this the wrong issue? Is it wrong to inject race into the Martin case, Michael Steele, as some conservatives and others have argued that this is the wrong moment?
I think it's not the wrong moment to inject race. I think race is a part of it, as the Congresswoman noted. It is an underlying theme or feeling that particularly the African American community takes away from that. And it has to be addressed. You just can't leave it on the table because you don't believe it's there.
All right.
One thing that's going to have to be on the table is the economic opportunity.
That's correct.
And
Absolutely.
for there to be jobs. And the obstructionism about summer jobs, jobs plans, jobs training that's taking place in this nation after the recession when this unemployment rate is so high, it can't be done with a law enforcement approach alone. It has to be done with an economic opportunity approach. So I hope that this conversation is going to confront the very challenging issue of economic opportunity.
This is not a Chronos moment. This is a Kairos moment. The president, again, is the right person at the right place at the right time to do more. I am not a part of that anything is enough generation. I want the president to step in this moment, as Coleman just pointed out, and lead us in a complex conversation about these very difficult issues. I don't want him to shrink from the calling of this moment historically, and we are going to regret this later on.
I understand there are places in Harlem in New York where they will not serve white customers. Do you know whether that's true or not?
I'm very sorry, I do not, Mrs. Craig.
I have been so told.
I don't know of places in Harlem that will not serve white customers. If such places exist, I think it's a blatant injustice and just redevelopment of the thing we're trying to get rid of. So I certainly wouldn't go along with that.
Mr. Van der Linden.
Dr. King, how many white people are members of your church in Atlanta?
I don't have any white members, Mr. Van der Linden.
Well, sir, you said integration is the law of the land and it's morally right, whereas segregation is morally wrong, and the president should do something about it. You mean the president should issue an order that the schools and the churches and the stores should all be integrated?
I think it is one of the tragedies of our nation, one of the shameful tragedies, that 11 o'clock on Sunday morning is one of the most segregated hours, if not the most segregated hours in Christian America. I definitely think the Christian church should be integrated, and any church that stands against integration and that has a segregated body is standing against the spirit and the teachings of Jesus Christ, and it fails to be a true witness. But this is something that the church will have to do itself. I don't think church integration will come through legal processes. I might say that my church is not a segregating church. It's segregated, but not segregating. It would welcome white members.
I think at this point I'll have to interrupt. I see that our time is up. Thank you very much, Dr. King, for being with us.